Now, our final session here is with our Heritage Party panel. So I'd like to welcome to the stage our Kent County Coordinator and Councillor, Sean Turner. Our General Secretary, Madeline Hunt. Our Berkshire Coordinator, Jason Reardon. Our Essex Coordinator, Bianca Isherwood. And our Deputy Treasurer, Laura Hurley. Thank you. Now I'm going to pass this mic over to Sean to lead the session, and we'll finish off about 5 o'clock.
I'll wait for you to come up. Jason, Madeline, Bianca, and Laura, welcome to the stage. Prin Honda. Good afternoon. My name's Sean Turner. I'm the Heritage Party councillor in Kent. What a wonderful welcome from everyone watching. It's an honour to be speaking in Wales. Thank you, David, for organising the day, and a big thank you to Kim and her team for hosting this essential event in a very welcoming and practical venue. So last year I stood before you to present a warning based on research on the reshaping of local governance and how the global to local NGO concept has taken over our authorities, with the support of their backroom officers and executives. If you missed this, the full presentation is available on the Kent Heritage Party YouTube channel, as well as the continuing project Questioning the District Council series. I remember Kim's speech very well, and she kindly reminded me of the simplest and most achievable message within her great talk. I also heard it again today. If you can't beat them, you join them. Been dying to say that. So this is what I did, being a voice for children. Since becoming a father during these times, I've been concerned, like other parents, how the state school system operates. I recently accepted a parent governor post, which offers me an extra community governance position. This includes access to training, the Department for Education information stream, and opens up ways of ensuring positive education, general and genuine well-being, and empowering the school community. My first assignment, funnily enough, was to join a sustainability support in education webinar. The debrief is eloquently documented on the Kent YouTube channel, enough said. David continues to speak about the long march for the institutions. Look what they've achieved. Whether it's the big unions, health, education, you name it, they're within it. Just by watching today, we will gain the wisdom to expose this destruction. How do we radiate? Let's focus on having a local positive impact where actions are most powerful and effective. I see this response to counter and expose this infiltration. Personal responsibility is essential to our success. Our approach is simple. Everyone here has the ability to make change. Avoid distraction and keep positive through right action. David asked me to share what I've been up to over the 12 months. Unfortunately, I won't be able to entertain you with bells and whistles, just recall the facts and action points which we believe are having an impact locally and nationally. In December 2024, the devolution agenda was finally announced. I think my parish council may be relieved to have a short break from my circulated warnings. As a part of this white paper invitation, councillors were supporting the idea of election postponement. So with the great support of Madeline, thank you, our General Secretary, we got to work. The Christmas and New Year period was spent tirelessly challenging councillors directly over this ludicrous reorganisation proposal. Due to our insightful communication efforts, one county councillor, Becky Bruneau, crossed the floor and joined our party. Coincidentally, the county elections did proceed in Kent and Devon, where we were most active. But unfortunately, for 6 million residents over 9 counties in England, this democratic right was robbed from them. In March, I joined David for discussion on his Right Think TV show. We discuss the wokery, immigration links to housing, climate indoctrination in schools, and the reorganisation agenda to kickstart the May 25 Kent County Council election campaign. We had 5 candidates in Kent, so I thank all members, Kent members, that stood for their communities. Although we fell short on votes, the campaign provided an ideal opportunity to challenge the uniparty narrative. Back to the keyboard. We saw a wave of alarming new bills put forward to challenge MPs and lords and related councillors, directly including those on climate and nature, planning and infrastructure, schools and well-being. I hear the assisted dying bill sadly cleared its second reading yesterday. Name a destructive and deadly agenda, and they are pushing it. Makes me a bit angry, sorry. How much development do we see after Rayner's Bulldozer Britain pledge live on TV in December 2024? Something that's publicly overlooked. Immigration and its links to housing crisis agenda. I quote Trevor Phillips from Sky News. Are you content that more than 5 out of 7 homes will go to immigrants? A national pattern, birth rates in decline, large numbers of houses sitting empty for councils to buy up cheaply, 700,000 plus nationwide. No data held to justify a local affordable housing need. We continue to request data through a coordinated freedom of information process and continue to receive a pattern of admissions across the country, lacking justification for such genuine emergencies. We cannot challenge without the data, or at least the lack of it. I repeat, fake emergencies, declarations, central funding, and links to private global partnerships. Currently, we have several housing and solar development challenges that Kent members are involved in. This again is something all of us can do, as it's an agenda that's mirrored throughout the UK. We are working with Residents Forum as a part of a Rule 6 party in challenging a development appeal to protect a pear orchard in a small West Kent heritage village called East Malling. The public inquiry begins next week. A big shout out to Catherine Moore, spokesman for the forum, standing up to mass development in her area. We can see this mirrored across the country. She has the wish to protect and to preserve her community. September, back from the holidays, and illusory water shortages. So a ministerial reshuffle, hey? I guess it must be a further coincidence that Mrs. Rayner and Mr. McMahon have just been ejected from the Ministry of Housing, Communities, Local Government and English Devolution departments. I congratulate Madeline for her efforts. It's because of you. The press release reads, a move that will spark fears about the government's commitment to the devolution agenda. It's in fact the councils that have always been committed to quietly implement centralisation, and the formal invitation RSVP deadline is November 28th. What are we going to do about it? Currently, I'm joining 14 candidates from all uni-party persuasions in the Lenham by-election to campaign against Maidstone Council and Home England's controversial plan to create a 5,000 home sustainable and affordable garden settlement, or in real terms, a 15-minute city. I'll end it on a high. Thank you to all our Heritage Party activists and councillors. Lisa's in the room. We will continue to grow our strategy team I'll mention some names. We have Russell from Kent, Jason from Bracknell, Susan from Wales, and Peter from Warwick. They all know who they are. A special mention to Alfred St Clair at Bolton Milton Keynes Parish. He's in the room as well. He successfully contested a seat in the parish chamber. A closing statement, I quote his words, "Sean, look at the opportunity to implement our manifesto at the local level." What a lovely place to leave it. Thank you. So, we have the panel. Are you going to ask questions from the crowd, David?
Yeah, I can. What I think we'll do is we'll give everyone on the panel. Thank you.
Pass the mic down.
Yeah, we'll give everyone in the panel the chance to speak, because I think you've all like to say 2 or 3 minutes about what you're doing, which will be fantastic. And then for whatever time is left, we'll have a question and answer session. We might only have 1 or 2 questions, but I'll rove around the floor, and after everyone's spoken, we can see if you've got any questions for the panel. So I guess who would like to go first and say what they would like to say? Jason? Okay, go for great.
Hello everybody, I'm a Berkshire coordinator and a candidate for the Bracknell constituency in Berkshire. I've actually campaigned 6 times. So I've done 2 borough elections, 1 general election and 3 parish councillor elections, sorry. So many claps when I haven't even won one. Most people would say, give up, son. But no, these are different times. Totally different times. This is war. Okay, I've seen Bracknell. It was a great example of a town and country where new businesses came, low-level building, separate with spaces and trees, and now it's slowly turned into a 50-minute city town. It's densifying and intensifying the town centre around the travel hub. It's skyrocketing. It's already blocking out light between buildings. It's disgusting. Well, I was one glad David came along, gave me a platform so I could fight for my country. Why? Because I love her. You should love Wales. I should love England. The Scots should love England. And we fight for passion. Because these people who are destroying our local areas are total Marxists and they hate us. Okay. I did find the communication with the electorate was always positive. When we had chats, open chats, a little bit of leeway, but we always ended up leaving with a handshake. And most of the time, most people said, "You've got my vote." Whether they stuck to that, I don't know. But at the end of the day, I've always made it a good purpose to the people I know who voted for us, the Heritage Party, and I went back and knocked on their door and thanked them for their vote. And if they decided not to vote for us, I thank them for the wonderful conversation we had. Because this is also what we're fighting for, is the fact that we can have a difference of opinion. Because the way it's going, you're not going to. So when I do meet someone, when I'm leafleting or giving leaflets out in the town centre, I say the fact that we can have a difference of opinion. That breeds a healthy nation. Okay. So at the end of the day, most of the people like our manifesto. I'd like to say they love our manifesto. But most people agree on things. Unfortunately, they're sold on the illusion of power and money. So we've been slowly getting more votes in Bracknell town. But what's happened recently, because we're getting popular through all our hard work, the squeeze has started. I've noticed in my last 2 elections, the big boys have come in. Now it's Reform and Liberals' turn to make the squeeze on the Heritage Party. But I take that as a badge of honour, because they're frightened of us. Or else they wouldn't be bothered with us. And even to the point where the Liberals have got nasty, and unfortunately Madeline experienced this as well. To the point of I actually challenged, and I got 10 signatures to trigger a by-election in Ascot. which is under the Winkfield parish of Bracknell. So, how do I say this? So I've been told by the vice chairman, who they gave a knock in that parish, that I was unchallenged for 2 days. I beg your pardon, I'm going to start again. I managed to trigger a general, what am I attaining, David?
Co-option.
No, by-election.
By-election.
I got my 10 signatures. 2 days to go, unchallenged, I would be a parish councillor. So 2 days to go. Does that show that the other parties really care, that they only put their hat in the ring with 2 days to go? So the big boys, Reform and Liberals, come in, to the point of it was rushed that they even put the wrong parish name on their leaflets. To the point that I even said to the vice chairman that I'm UKIP in disguise. Well, if I was UKIP, I could be UKIP, so it doesn't matter. So they're frightened of us. This is positive. None of it's negative. Whether it's 20 votes, 76 votes, 155 votes. The point is, as much as I would like to be elected, each one that I'm not, I have an opportunity to then put and present the Heritage Party in another ward in Bracknell. Then another ward, then another ward. So I'm spreading the name and a good manifesto and what stands by the people and the freedoms of the people. But one difference, there is one major difference with the Heritage Party to the mainstream parties. I'm there with my own ethos under the Heritage Party. I want to serve, not rule. That is a major difference. And it would actually be an absolute pleasure to serve my local community. It really would. And as menial as it sounds, I actually listened to the people on my campaign, and I actually put something forward to the vice chairman. It was just basically a street light. Cars were being dumped there because the close was in darkness. And even though I didn't win that, the Heritage Party got that street light turned on, and it was fixed. Again, we are about action, not words, only for the benefit for the people, because we listen to the people. So anyway, David, thank you for giving me that platform, and it's always an experience. Thank you. Thank you for your support.
Thank you, Jason. Great. Pass the microphone along to Madeline.
I think I might have said enough, so I'll pass it on.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much for your speech, Jason. I will vote for you, always. You was born to be a politician. So, few words what we did already, because I am not going to talk about what I've done, because my work is like a teamwork. So I'm working obviously with other very committed people. And I think one important thing to say is that we are far more stronger than everyone thinks we are. Maybe we are not on the front pages of the newspaper, but because of our team is working so hard and is all the time constantly sending letters to MPs, to councillors, we're challenging them with the legal letters. We are actually really much inside the parliament already. Every single letter is recorded in the parliament, every letter is in the parliamentary library. So many formal letters what we send to the MPs, we actually receive answers that they agree with us. And it's really strange, because they rather be quietly agreeing with us instead of taking our letter to the main room and have a debate about this. But maybe this time will come at some point. So we are very busy. We challenge everyone on every single issue what the agenda is bringing. Currently, we focusing on the developments, and we're really trying to stop massive developments. They're destroying our country, front in our eyes. They're lying to us about the housing emergency. We already debunked this practically with the councils, because they have to admit under our pressure that such an emergency doesn't exist. As Sean mentioned, we sent some letters, questions, and they are obligated to answer. So we have a question. We sent question to the government asking them about the evidence of the housing emergency, for example. And one of the questions was, following the planning law, we ask about the residence and the employment, which shows the 5 years of particular person on the list. So the Department of the Housing and Community, they reply to us, they don't have any kind of information about that. We sent the same question to practically every single council in the country, and we have exactly the same answer. They don't have a data. So obviously, if you don't have a data, you couldn't call emergency, and you can't claim that people need housing if you don't even know what this kind of people are who actually claim they need housing. So we discovered so many twisted regulations in the way and really big corruption. And what I especially want to talk about this for a few minutes, because the obstacle what I am actually dealing with when I'm trying to expose this lies are ordinary people, because they are being manipulated emotionally by all the propaganda. And everyone is saying, when I am saying, look, we have to do something about this because we have 5,000 houses built here, they're destroying our woodlands, they're destroying our heritage. I always have answers from people which are really against everything, but they still saying one thing. Yeah, but what we're going to do about these people? These people need housing. We have 700,000 empty houses around UK at the moment, probably more, 700,000. I've done the research about that, and from the 700,000 is a really small percentage of the holiday letting, which they doing the propaganda against again because they want to destroy the hospitality. This is really corrupted circle how they doing this about the empty housing, because the developers and the investor that buying property, they sharing this with the council, then they become the landlords themselves. This is very complicated. I am not going to try to explain that. But we do have empty houses. So with all this emergency, we have enough housing available for people who really need them. The problem is we don't know who these people are who really need these houses, because they are the real victims. They're being pushed on the bottom of the list. So the number, what we're seeing, is completely inflated. And I want to make a big point about this, because if anyone want to challenge this, you have to remember that the planning law and the resettlement and the way how the housing association is building the numbers, they are two different things. So that's why we challenge them on the planning law at the moment. And Sean is going to go through the Rule 6. I am actually opening 2 different legal cases against my own council in Devon, because they destroying everything practically there, and the same happening everywhere else. So that's what we do. We challenge all councils again practically in UK about the housing emergency, about the climate emergency, now about their organization. That's another extremely important issue, because reorganization is the bringing up the communist system. They're going to destroy the existing democracy, we talked about this before, they're going to bring this metro mayors. The moment when they establish this new system, we're not going to have possibility to fight anymore, because they're going to change completely the structure of the way how we live locally. And we have the deadline in November. And what we're doing, we're challenging all council about that. We managed to steer them to the point when they now question if they should join or not. We need more people to get involved, because it's only few of us who are constantly sending letters, spending so much time on research, but we need more people to at least spend a few minutes a day and send some template letter to their own council. So that's all what we ask. We will be very happy to have anyone put on the paper that is going to join our strategic team, because this is extremely important. So thank you.
Hello, everyone. Right, my main focus is smart cities and 5G infrastructure rollout. That's been happening for the last 5 years. I started researching it when I had a cell tower put up near my property in Southend, and discovered that a lot of the safety certificates have an invalid company name on that was dissolved in 2015. So we got a serious problem. This has been rolled out across the UK, and this is the cornerstone of bringing in digital ID. And I'm really very concerned about it, because I don't want my children being left I'm leaving them here on this planet when I pass, to be in a social credit system. That's the last thing I want, their freedom taken away and the government having control over their lives. I think there's been an attack on our people in this country since 2020 to bring this in, to put us in chaos, so we'll take on this digital ID. Our area in Southend, they do want to change into a smart city. It's been run into the ground, and people will accept it because they'll want the crime to stop, or, you know, all the other problems we have to stop. And I don't believe that digital ID will stop that. It's just going to mean we're going to be controlled and watched continually. We are now, unfortunately, but I think it will get worse going forward. So that's what I do in Southend with Bianca. We do a lot of campaigning. We had a rally before Christmas against smaller towers they wanted to put in the local area, which was really successful, and they got a really big backlash from the community there that don't want any more infrastructure put in that tracks you. And yeah, it's really, really the most important thing to me, because I believe digital ID and the dark forces aren't going to care whether you're right, left, black, white. You'll just be a statistic. And we don't want that for our children. So we do all need to unite together instead of all being separate going forward, because we are one unity. We can't let them keep dividing us to bring this in. So yeah, that's my main area. And also with the safety certificates for this infrastructure, it is a dissolved company. All the main organisations we've contacted through AIDS International, who I work for with Nicholas Martin, they've just totally ignored what we're saying. There's a dissolved company name on ICNIRP certificates that have been self-certified by the telecommunications companies that have put these towers in our country, and the company is not live. It was dissolved. So they cannot possibly ensure public safety. It's absolute nonsense, but we've written to all the head people, Ofcom, National Planning Inspectorate, and they're just ignoring us, and the council. So now we really need the public to know that they don't care about your safety. They've put this in to bring in digital ID. There is no question about it now. And if you talk about 5G publicly, they just want to say you're a tinfoil hatter conspiracy theorist. But we actually have documents and paperwork with fake limited company names on. So there is a big issue. And once the public know they don't care about your health and safety or your privacy, then hopefully we can get this stopped. Thank you.
How much time do we have left?
About 5 minutes.
Okay. I've made notes because I've been really poorly this week, and I thought I'm either going to just babble on about nothing like I did on Richard Vobes, or I'm just going to blank out and not have nothing to say. So I'm just going to sit here as well. So I thought I'd just tell you a really brief history of my journey with the Heritage Party. Sorry if it's boring and you've heard it before, but I thought it might resonate with some people, because the most annoying thing I hear is, "Oh, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do what you do." So this is how I got involved. So I'm not even sure how long I've been a party member. I think it's 3 years. It might be 4. But before that, I had no interest in politics, but I had every interest in fighting the agendas and Agenda 2030. I created a Freedom Network Hub and a People's Health Alliance Hub in my local area, and I was organising local protests, creating flyers, community projects, and I did a lot of school outreach outside school gates when they were rolling out the jabs to children. When our council published that they were considering LTNs that would eventually lead to Southend being a smart city, I went to a local political party that was supposed to be grassroots, normal people, which it is, And I hope that they would raise some of these issues to the local council on my behalf. But when I arrived and I started talking to them in the meeting, I realised that these normal people, they're no better than what David calls the uniparty. They were pro-net zero. They called me transphobic because I highlighted an incident where there was a grown man who was dressed in a fluffy pink monkey outfit with a strap on, went to read to children at a library. And apparently that made me transphobic and I needed to get some compassion. It took me several days to get over that comment. And they told me it was simply a dress code issue. There was another candidate who is a science teacher, a secondary school science teacher, and he told me and Lara that EMF doesn't exist, so there's no problem with 5G. And then the other issue that I tried to raise, they just said it was a conspiracy theory, and they wouldn't comment on it for the sake of their public image. And it made me realise how lacking we were in people that are not indoctrinated and are wise to the agendas, and how important it is that we get people elected into such positions where these agendas can be blocked from local area rollouts. And I'd followed David Curtin's videos and I'd watched him speak at some of the protests I attended, and he was the only person that came to mind when I thought about what we need in politics. And someone who would speak whole truth on behalf of all those with common sense. So I applied to join the party, thinking that I would just support them in their ventures. I thought maybe I'd champion someone who was running, hand out some flyers. But instead I ended up starting my own branch. I became the Southend coordinator. I ran for council twice and then ran for Parliament and then became the Essex coordinator. We did a lot of stuff. We assisted a court case for a constituent where I created the case file and represented her in the High Court in London. The point is that none of these things I had any prior knowledge of. My first election, I think it was like 2 days to the deadline, and I just decided to do it on a whim. The admissions team called me back to dot some I's and tick some boxes, and when I was in court, the judge had to educate me on my ignorance and the formalities. But the point is that I learned on the job, so if I can do it, so can you. It's great to be amongst like-minded people and to be supported and not ridiculed for my beliefs or not challenged constantly by my beliefs. It's nice to be united under this banner of the Heritage Party, where there's great people doing amazing work. And as we all know, within politics and in the freedom movement, there's always divide, controlled opposition, opportunist, ego, and I have found none of that here amongst the Heritage Party. There's just people trying to do the right thing for the country and for our children that will inherit it. And this year, I've also had the honour of becoming the home education spokesman for the party. The schools bill has been my main priority this year. I've been to many protests and I've done a lot of campaigning, done a lot of podcasts, and I delivered a speech outside Downing Street this year regarding this. The bill affects all schools, students and teachers. There will be criminal records and fines for non-attendance, a huge erosion of parental rights, amongst a lot of other things. But the biggest impact of this bill will be to home educators. I've been a home educator before joining the party, and I know that the Heritage Party has always been a supporter of home educators. But it wasn't until this year that I realised how integral home education is to the party's vision as a whole. Whilst each facet of Agenda 2030 holds its own threat, like the farming, the food, finances, freedoms, medical autonomy, there's no way to break this cycle of weak family units and children's being indoctrinated with ideologies without home education. If we want future generations to continue what we have started, if we want them to know right from wrong and to have a quality of health and not to accept life in a digital prison as the norm, to have freedom, family and a prosperous nation, we do need to save home education.
Thank you so much. Our panel, stay there. It's wonderful to have you on the stage. And for me, just not to be on my own on the stage as well, but with all our wonderful candidates, councillors, activists, not just here, but many of you as well. And also many of you who are watching the videos after the conference as well, because they'll be online next week. Look, so I hope you're inspired by all these wonderful people here who are doing so many good things. There's things that you can do as well. So the number one thing you can do is perhaps join Madeline in her team to write letters and FOI requests, because you're really making an impact on MPs and on councillors and pushing back on the agenda, particularly the agenda for what they call local government reorganisation and devolution, which is going to hollow out and destroy local democracy. And you're going to have a Sadiq Khan type figure in every county if we don't stop that. They've already put one in Lincolnshire and North Yorkshire and other places. They want to do Kent and Essex and Suffolk and Surrey and Sussex next year. And we don't want those directly elected mayors that are going to be unelectable. Imagine one person like Sadiq Khan in charge of everything in your county. That's if you live in England. I know here in Wales, you've already got, the First Minister and the Welsh Senedd that are in charge of what's happening in Wales, and they've been a disaster since they were started. And in Scotland, you've got the Scottish Parliament in Holyrood, and they're also a disaster as well. So we want to roll back this agenda of devolution, which implements climate alarmism, the net zero agenda, the wokery, the replacement migration, and everything that undermines our nation and restore our nation to what it should be, with democracy working as it should be on a local and a national level. So please do join Madeline and the activist group. If you want to join, I've got a Telegram group that you can join if you're a member, and you can keep in touch with other people who are campaigners in the Heritage Party and join in writing letters to MPs, to councillors, to challenge the agenda. Second thing you can do is we're now going to multiply and amplify our social media operation. So we have 5 or 6 people who are very, very good and very active on social media in writing posts, on X or on Facebook. But I want to 10x that. I want to multiply that by 10, and I want to multiply that by 10 again, so that we have hundreds of people posting things in support of the Heritage Party on social media, reposting our policy graphics, clipping little videos, putting little videos out. And other political parties, both in this country and in the United States, have been doing that for a long time. It's not something that's unusual. I mean, you see, across the pond, President Trump was very good. He's got an army of people posting his stuff. Well, I want an army of people in this country posting our stuff from the Heritage Party, so that if you're on social media, you see something from the Heritage Party every day, all day, every day, 10 times a day, so that so more people get to hear about us, because we are suppressed and cancelled in the mainstream media. But what we can do is we can increase our operation in social media. So if you're interested in that, write to me, let me know, come and talk to me, write to office@heritageparty.org, and we will organise our social media operation and amplify that. And I want to do that very, very soon, over the next 4 weeks, so that if you're on X or Facebook or Gab or Instagram or Substack or YouTube or Rumble or Odyssey, any of the platforms, all the platforms, you'll see us all the time, because that's the way where we can get our message out more. So those are 2 things that anyone can do very, very simply. The other things you can do to really get involved is to stand. and I say this to everybody, stands to be a candidate, even if you begin at town council level, parish council level, you go for a by-election that's maybe coming up. I know Sean is standing in a local by-election coming up in October, which is fantastic. We might get you on the district council as well as the parish council. We need people to stand in elections because, as well as writing letters and posting on social media, that's where we're really going to be able to make a difference and actually make decisions. And I know we've got a couple of people who have recently become councillors. We've got Jim in Somerset, recently become a councillor, and Alfred in Milton Keynes has recently become a councillor. And I think both of you have said to me, wow, you know, I didn't know I could do this, but I've seen so much. It's opened my eyes to what's going on. And you actually have now some real power to change things and challenge things, even in your local village or your local town. So you might not have even thought ever before about standing, being a candidate and trying to get elected. I never did until about 10 years ago, but I was very blessed. I got elected onto the London Assembly, and I had a lot of fun questioning Sadiq Khan. Not because Sadiq Khan's fun, but because it was, I always had a good argument, let's say, and some of the clips from those years where I challenged Sadiq Khan are still going around today all over the place on social media, which is fantastic. And of course, one of the reasons why we're here and having our conference here in Wales this year is because it's the scheduled elections for the Welsh Senedd on the 7th of May 2026. So if you're a member here and you're in Wales, I would encourage you to stand for the Welsh Senedd, because if you don't stand, we don't stand for our principles to restore our nation, whether that's the United Kingdom or Wales or Scotland with the Scottish Parliament, then we're just going to let the Uni Party come in unchallenged. And the Uni Party's pressure valve. I think you know what I mean by that. So we need to stand Heritage Party candidates everywhere that we possibly can. So I would like a full slate of candidates for the Welsh Senedd. I would like 96 candidates standing, 6 in every one of the 16 seats that are coming up for Wales next year. So please do consider that. And join us, stand, put yourself forward. And I also want the same for Scotland too. And of course, in England, there are going to be about 5,000 local governments, local council seats up for election in England next year, mostly in urban metropolitan areas, Greater London, Greater Manchester, Merseyside, South Yorkshire, West Yorkshire, among other places. So there'll be lots of scheduled elections in England too. Please consider putting yourself forward, even if it's only as a paper candidate where your name's on the ballot paper, so someone has the opportunity to vote for someone who cares about them and their neighbourhood and their country, rather than someone who's just doing it because they want to push forward these destructive agendas. We need to stop that and restore our nation. So everyone, thank you so much for coming to the conference today. If you're here physically or watching, if you're watching online, it's been an absolute pleasure and a blessing to be with all of you today. We got another hour or so before we have to leave the building, so do mingle, do get to know each other, make contacts. That's what this day is all about as well. And if you'd like to take some of the boards and some of the t-shirts and some of the manifestos there, please help yourself. And I wish you a wonderful evening. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you. Oh, that's nice. Oh man, that's so nice. Thank you. Oh, you're going to make me blush.